Perfect. Yeah. All right. Well, welcome to the show, everyone. My name is Mark. I am your host. And today on the show, I've got a good friend of mine, Manny. Manny, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic, Mark.
Perfect. You know what? I brought you a present today. I brought you a present. You've been wanting to meet the band. So they're going to kick it for you. All right.
All right.
All right. The recovery band. Kick it, boys. There you go. All right. Oh, and I even brought a studio audience with you.
Important.
Look at that standing ovation. They really like you.
Yeah.
So Manny, you and I have kind of gotten to know each other like over the last year and a half or so. And first off, how long have you been in recovery, and how much time do you have?
Well, I'm on my 7th year.
You're in your 7th year.
Yes. And that's a good question, because you bring in the word recovery. And for me, it's been a progress. First to put the drink down and keep it down, which I've come to learn. It's being sober, just not drinking, right?
Yeah.
And there's been times in that I've been successful in not drinking.
You're talking before recovery.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's been a journey, with my disease of alcoholism.
Yeah.
So, with regards to recovery time, I would say, look, it's 6 years, 6.5 years,
Yeah.
It took me a while I really was able to get this time around. I was able to come in, and I was able to really put behind my denial. And I really came in with the white flag, and I was done. So,
Yeah.
And then from that point forward, working the first 3 steps. I mean, I can't say enough, and I don't. And our literature speaks for ourselves, and everybody that's in recovery understands that. If you didn't do your first step right, you didn't do your second, and then you didn't do your third. You got to get them all right, and then you got to move forward and get into action. And once you get into that part, then you have a chance to be able to start working on yourself, and then realize who you are and what you've done, and how this higher power is going to help you move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Very key. Very key.
So, so with regards to coming in the rooms, what brought you into recovery? Like, what was it like before you came in?
Well, it's no different than what we read in our literature.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah.
It wasn't fun for me anymore, and definitely it wasn't fun for the people that were around me and my family. But what brought me in was the fact that when I wanted to stop drinking, I just couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to come clean with myself and say, hey, you just can't stop. And it's no matter how much I would try to or want to, it just wouldn't happen. It just wouldn't happen. I mean, so I really saw myself in a fork in the road.
Yeah.
Where and our literature talks about it too. It's either you either sober up, or this is your life to the bitter end,
Yeah, some do go on to the bitter end.
That's right. And I saw that. I saw those curtains opening up, that bitter end opening up. And I'm like, I really can't. I need to get back. I need to get help. And I really believed in Alcoholics Anonymous. I just, in the prior times, I just wasn't honest with myself, and I wasn't honest with the giving the program, doing the work,
Mm-hmm.
being part of the fellowship, and accepting the situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's real simple, there are so many different sayings in our fellowship that ring so true. Having to surrender to win.
Yeah. Yeah. They're one of the great paradoxes.
Yeah. And that for me was key. That's how I felt this last time. Last time it was, that's it. I'm walking it. I'm coming out, hands up, on my knees. I'm done. And I was fortunate because I had a lot of support. I had a lot of support with my family. And folks that knew me from the rooms before. My first sponsor, he was very patient. He was very patient, and he was one of those people that I had the opportunity when I came back for him to say, "Well, good, I'm glad you're back." And he only asked me one simple question. He asked me, "Well, are you ready now?"
Yeah. Have you been beaten down enough?
That's right.
Yeah.
And when an affirmation comes from inside your soul of saying yes, you're done.
Yeah.
And you're ready to move on. And that's where I was at this last time. I was really at the end. It was it for me. So.
Yeah. So it sounds like you were ready to concede to your innermost self that you were alcoholic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and which is the first step in recovery. Now, when I think back to like my run, before I came in, I'd written lots of sweet promises, right? The powerlessness.
Yeah.
And one of the best examples in our literature is in Bill's story that I see of powerless. It says, "I woke up. This had to be stopped. I saw I could not take so much as one drink. I was through forever. Before I'd written lots of sweet promises, but my wife happily observed that this time I meant business. And so I did. Shortly afterwards, I came home drunk. Mm-hmm. There had been no fight where it had been my high resolve. I simply didn't know. It hadn't even come to mind. And so were there lots of sweet promises written, like I'm going to stop, I'm going to...
Oh, endless.
Yeah.
There were numerous. I mean, every bit of probably 7 years worth of promises,
Yeah.
And they were true promises. In other words, I really wanted to not continue to get totally wasted.
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to learn how to control my drinking. If I can just have
drink like a gentleman.
Yeah, have a couple of drinks, and just have a couple of drinks, and that was it. But it didn't happen all the time, and as time passed, it happened less and less and less. So it's it's a progressive disease. It's that that compulsion.
Yeah,
it's that compulsion. And I've shared this before, and I'm not unique. I quit drinking towards the end there. I quit drinking every morning. Every morning I would.
I'm done. I'm through.
I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I would clean up, drive to work, and by 3:00 I was feeling better, and I was giving myself another opportunity to perhaps drink successfully, and it didn't. It wasn't there. It wasn't happening for me.
Yeah.
I would stop. I would get booze. I would drink. Leave the bottle in the car. Come in. My wife knew I was drinking. I would deny it. And then later on in the evening, I would go out to the car. I would get the bottle. I'd bring the bottle into my house. I'll start drinking. Mm-hmm. And then the following morning, I'm like, oh, shit, what happened?
Yeah.
I was looking for the bottle. The bottle was empty.
I totally identify with that.
So, yeah. So I am this last time, I just gave up. I gave up with trying to continue to fight this thing that you can't win
You
with.
surrendered to win.
Absolutely.
That's phenomenal. So after you surrendered to win, what did coming to believe? Like step 2 doesn't say we came in believing. Yeah. So
I got this great story for you on that.
all right, perfect. I can't wait to hear it. Hit me
All
with
right.
it.
So I'm having this conversation with my wife. We're in the living room, and she tells me, listen, you need to call this buddy of yours. You know, he's always been a good friend of yours. Why don't you call him up and talk to him? And I did. And I called him up, and he said, hey, listen, no problem. I'll meet you at West Dixie. So that's how I started going to West Dixie Club. I had not gone to the West Dixie Club before in my other times that I would go to meetings. But in that conversation with my wife, she's like, well, listen, you know what? You just can't tell me you're going to do AA just by itself because, listen, Manny, you've tried that before and it hasn't worked. You know, you need to see if you go ahead and you get yourself some help, get yourself in rehab. You need to come in and put more, you need to attack this with more ammo, not just AA. And I said, yeah, sure, honey, no problem. Whatever you say. You know, I was happy. I was inside the house and all was good. And she was very supportive. So I have a relative who works at a summer house. And so I call him up and I tell him, hey, listen, this is where I'm at. I'm here again. You know, I'm in a situation where, you know, I can't control my drink and I go on sprees and this and that. The reason I'm calling you, cousin of mine, is because, listen, I need to see if you can kind of help me out in choosing which are the best rehabs here around town that I can go to. And by the way, I was starting to call a couple and I gave him some names and he goes, Manny, any one of them are good. Matter of fact, they're all good. That's not the problem that you have. The problem is you. So you need to get honest with yourself that you're an alcoholic and you can't drink successfully. And so hung up the phone, started going to my meetings, kept going to my meetings. And a few weeks later, my wife says, so I see you're going to meetings, but no rehab. What's going on? And I said, well, listen, honey, I got to sit down. I got to talk to you. I go, listen, you know, that other day we were having a conversation and you said that AA wasn't working for me. Well, the reason AA wasn't working for me is because I wasn't working AA. I wasn't doing the program at all. And I wasn't.
Yeah, you weren't doing the deal.
I wasn't doing the deal.
Yeah.
So at that point in time, I really did have the hope that Alcoholics Anonymous was going to help me keep the drink down, you know? Yeah. So that was my first, like, flash of hope.
Yeah.
And then, and little by slowly, you know, going to the meetings and working with my sponsor and doing service and just being a regular at the clubhouse, you know, and reading the literature and that helped me with, you know, keeping the drink down.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you came to believe via the fellowship.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, as you started to do service and get more involved in the fellowship, like what'd that look like for you?
Well, the first time I did service, I would think I was there. I would go to a 7:00 morning meeting because it was the meeting that I was able to get to and get, and it would I can get the meeting, attend the meeting, not worry about it being a conflict with my, you know, going to my office or anything in the afternoon. My sponsor at the time said, listen, Manny, I don't care which meeting you go to, where you go, when you go, but you need to go to a meeting every day. Mm-hmm. And the people that need to know that you're going to that meeting every day. So when they realize that you're not, they reach out to you.
Yeah. That's
But-
huge.
So I'm in that meeting, and this guy, Eric, he comes up to me. I was by the West Dixie where they have the coffee. They have the condiment bar all the way on the side there.
Yeah.
You can fix up your coffee. So I'm there fixing up my coffee, and he comes up over and he kind of startles me, and he goes, "Hey, listen, I need for you to do me a favor." I go, "Yeah, sure. What?" He goes, "I need for you to do the meeting this morning." And I'm like, "Who, me?" Well, I don't know what to talk about. He goes, "Well, that's okay. Just go up there and follow the script, and then we just talk about you."
Really? Wait, how much time did you have when you started doing this?
I was less than 2 months.
Okay.
And but I was frightened. I was scared. I had that self-centered fear. What am I going to say? And if you ask me, what did I say? I don't remember what I said. It's like
You just blacked out like boom.
no. I just said how I probably told them about how I was powerless over alcohol, and how
That's beautiful.
I used to say all the time, I got tired of being beat up by the gorilla in the,
What gorilla?
the one in the boxing ring, that
All right.
alcohol, you go in there and you think you're going to beat it, and then you get your butt handed to you in a bag, here you go, son. See you next time. Good try. But I felt so good. I felt after that share, it was like the next time I felt like such freedom was when I did a fifth step with my sponsor. That feeling that walking that broad highway with your higher power. You feel free. You feel like you let go. You let go. You just let go of all this baggage, all this stuff that you've been carrying around for such a long time. And when I'm saying you, I mean myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, when you did your fifth step,
Yeah.
I hear like one of the common themes that I hear in the rooms is, the scary fourth step, the fifth step. Were you scared going up to that? Like, did you have that fear?
Okay, so It took me, I don't know. I want to say 6 years to do my fourth step. And what I'm trying to say by that is the first time I came to AA was in 2011. And I have the date written on the inside of my big book, but I don't have it handy with me.
All right, so here we go. We're gonna pick it back up. Maybe I should put this machine on my inventory because and the dead batteries that I put in it.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're talking about 4 steps. So it took you 6 years to. Okay. So
Right. And
let's start again.
The reason I mention that is because before I got serious about getting sober and recovery, I couldn't get around to doing a 4 step. It wasn't important for me. I didn't think I was powerless over alcohol. I didn't admit that I was that my life was unmanageable.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was doing I wasn't participating in insane behaviors. So, I wasn't there. So when the sponsor would keep asking me, so where's the 4 steps? How are you coming along with the 4 step? I was always giving him any kind of excuse like we hear. It's no different than anybody else, But when I came in this last time, came back this last time, I did that 4 step right away.
Yeah,
I did, but it's real simple. I mean, once you really want to go ahead and spill it out and put it down on paper,
Yeah.
and and it doesn't need to be perfect. It's that thing. I had this ego and this pride that I figure everything I have to do needs to be just right, just perfect, because you got this self-centered fear that if you're not right, people are not going to like you, or they may say something to you, right?
Yeah, like what will people think? Or
Right. But at that point in time, I just wrote, and I did the best I could at that point in time, and I was ready. I was ready to go ahead and sit down. Let's get going. And listen, there's always room in the future that if you forgot something, you honestly forgot something, all you need to do is give it a sincere attempt to put down everything. And like other people that I've heard, there was a couple of things I didn't write, and
Yeah, you
so,
just kind of kept it stashed in the back.
right. So
Yeah.
he asked me, he goes, "Is there anything else that you want to share with me, or maybe something that you left out?"
Did you try to make mortar without sand?
Yeah, I did. But then I realized that that's not going to help me. So I went ahead and I came clean. I told him everything that was on my mind, and it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't a big deal.
It isn't a big deal.
No big deal. I mean, it's like, before we started with this recording, we had a conversation, and I came to realize I'm no different. I'm just another bozo on the bus. So
love that saying.
Yeah.
That's with when I got it and did my fifth step, at the end of it, I asked my sponsor, I said, "So what's the prognosis?" He's like, "Well, I see a lot of selfishness and self-centeredness," right? And of course, here it comes creeping out of me in my head. I'm like, well, what if I would have left this and this out? Would it have been any different?
Right.
And so when you got into your fifth step, then and you went ahead and omitted that stuff, like, how did you feel afterwards?
Oh my God. I felt I was flying through the air, man. I felt so much freedom. I felt like I actually came clean. I got rid of all this stuff that was really weighing me down as a person,
Yeah, so it changed the game for you.
Yeah, they talk about that incomprehensible demoralization feeling.
Yeah.
And it's a whole different feeling after you do your fifth step. It's like now you're part of the solution. You're moving forward with your recovery. And now you're able to expose everything.
Yeah.
It's like, that's all. They say that most of the steps are ego deflating.
Humility.
Yeah. So, for someone to be, for someone to just basically just put down everything and the feelings of what, this, that, and the other, you're just folding your hand. You just, all the chips are on the table there. It is what it is. This is it. This is me. This is who I am. This is what, and at that point in time, there's only one way to go. It's forward. You go, that's it. There's only one, what else?
Absolutely.
You're no longer, from that point forward, it's moving forward. It's moving forward. And then, our steps are in order for a reason, and, we start working on ourselves, and then we make amends, and then we try to not have to do that again,
Yeah.
But if we do, we do. That's what we have a 10-step for. But,
so you're talking about it like amends. What did amends look like for you?
Oh, goodness.
Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about it.
Yeah. My sponsor told me, listen, when it's the right time, that time will present itself.
Yeah.
And of course, there was good sponsorship is very important in this.
Absolutely, it is
in this program. Okay, so and we've heard it before. There's certain amends that need to be done. There's some that need to be done right away.
Yeah.
There's some that don't need to be done right away. And there's some that just don't need to be done.
Yeah.
But the timing of all that, he was strong about, do it as quickly as you possibly can when the moment presents itself.
Yeah.
And that was it, And I think that one of the best amends is, the living amends.
Yeah.
The ones that, you just don't continue to do those things anymore.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. I didn't have the opportunity to make a direct amends with my dad because he had passed. He had passed the year before. But there's suggestions on how to deal with circumstances like that. So, I did go ahead and I did write a note, is how I felt about certain things. And
Yeah.
I did go and I did visit his grave and I did sit down and I did have a conversation with him. And one of my amends to my dad is how I behaved with my mom,
Yeah.
who's still alive. But, no, it's tough sometimes to make amends, but it's very much needed,
It is.
It's
It
very
is.
much needed.
Yeah. It says if we don't pretty much make these amends,
Yeah.
we're going to drink again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so how do you feel after, like, when you started that amends process? How did you feel after that?
Relief.
Yeah.
You clean your side of the street.
Yeah.
And this is, you come forward with what, you've come forward with recognizing your actions, your behaviors,
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. When you, now, since you've been doing this a while, you have the opportunity, I'm assuming, to work with others. And I've seen you do service. I've been at meetings when you've done
Right.
service. And so what does it do for you? Like, it talks about in the big book how it's the bright spot of our lives to work with others. What does it do for you as an alcoholic man in recovery to work with another person?
It's really a privilege.
Yeah,
It's a privilege, and
it is.
It is to be able to help others.
Yeah,
Early sobriety can be difficult. It can be very difficult. I know that for me, it was very important to have others with a lot more time. Share their experience, their strengths, their hopes, share their suggestions. There's a gentleman that was at the 7 o'clock meeting regularly, and he would always tell me, and he'd tell other people, it's easier to stay sober than it is to get sober. And he would also recognize, the efforts that the newcomers make in trying to get sober by going to meetings.
Yeah.
I'm a strong believer. If you want to get sober, you need to go to meetings. You want to stay sober, you should go to meetings. Okay?
I always see you at a meeting.
I'm a very strong believer of that. And yes, just going to meetings is not going to give you recovery. But going to meeting gives you the opportunity to stay in recovery, and help other people. And see other people come through the program and be successful. Like I've seen you in this program. I've had the pleasure of seeing you come into the program and practice the recovery. You have. I'm not here to say, but you're very involved. And And
thank you.
Yeah,
there was a suggestion that I took. Like I don't. Okay, like it's kind of this weird thing. Like we pay for 100% of the suggestions we don't take, but also too, I've heard some BS suggestions.
Right.
I've heard a couple before, but there was one that was really fire, and it was you can either be a spectator or a participant in your recovery, and so that kind of for some reason that really hit me when I heard that, and I'm like that makes total sense. That's simple. And so I think I'm going to become a participant in my recovery. And another guy said, watch both sides, learn from the people that have quality of time that are doing this, but also watch the people that aren't doing this and learn from that too.
True.
Yeah. And so I see you at meetings a lot. What are your favorite meetings, your favorite type of meeting to go to?
Oh, geez. I like step series. I like step series a lot.
Those are good, aren't they?
I do. I like
Yeah.
them. I mean, it's not a substitute to doing your steps with a sponsor,
Yeah.
but they're healthy meetings. I like meetings that um, that focus on the solution.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
reading the big book meetings, the as Bill sees it, the 12 and 12 meetings that we recently incorporated over at West Dixie.
Yeah. Literature meetings.
Literature meetings, they're all good, and I also like the speaker meetings, the 10-year plus that they have over at West Dixie on Saturday mornings.
Absolutely.
I think I like all the meetings, I really do. I mean,
Well, you were talking about Joe and Charlie meetings
yes.
earlier, and you said something about you listen to Joe and Charlie
Yes.
to meditate or to
Yes, to quiet the committee in my head sometimes.
okay.
Yeah, I have a committee in between my ears.
Okay.
But I heard that I'm not unique. I'm not, so there's other people that have committees and that sometimes keep them up at night. And, for whatever that may be, and I really enjoy listening to some sobriety tapes.
Yeah.
Joe and Charlie is one of them.
Do you do like speakers? Like, do you listen to like speakers on like YouTube or?
I've listened to some podcasts, but predominantly I can listen to Joe and Charlie repeatedly. I can listen to the Drop the Rock because that book, Drop the Rock, for me is very effective in my recovery. I mean, it talks about. I mean, step 6 and 7 is where I need to be working all the time, and I need to be able to identify what's going on with me. Why am I feeling a certain way? Why am I thinking a certain way? Why am I even acting that way?
Mm-hmm.
And and it's that continuous, that step 10 inventory that we continuously are taking, of ourselves, and not about everybody or everything, about about us,
defects of character.
Right. I mean, I can go on and on about what I may think about how people behave. Is that common example of, we all hear it, how people drive, how people pay at the cash register, all these things that sometimes can perhaps annoy us, right?
Yeah.
When that happens to me, I know that something is not going right with me. I need to step back and say, okay, Manny, time to talk to God.
Time to go to God.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That's it.
Go for that tune up, that polish up, that.
Yeah. Time to go to God. It really is,
Yeah, it's going to God is huge. I remember somebody told me to go to God once, and I was like, what does that mean? And I find myself going to God a lot for things. And so it sounds like you're pretty grateful.
Oh, yeah.
In your recovery. And you talked about the other day, I sent you a reading. Yes. And you talked about attitude of gratitude. Can I read this part of this reading to you and let's talk about it?
Please do.
Yeah, it's on page 475 of the big book. It's under Twice Gifted. It says, some years have passed. As I look back from the clarity of this moment, I know the way here for me could not have been by an easier path. I would not willingly have stopped the course of my life was on. I needed harsh reality to see the damage that alcohol abuse causes in so many ways. I needed to be forced into acceptance and humility. My physical being has certainly undergone a transformation, but the major transformation has been spiritual. The hopelessness has been replaced by abundance of hope and sincere faith. The people of Alcoholics Anonymous has provided a haven where, if I remain aware and keep my mind quiet enough, my higher power leads me to amazing realizations. I find joy in my daily life in being of service, in simply being. I've found rooms full of wonderful people, and for me, each and every one of the big book promises has come true. The things that I have learned from my own experience, from the big book and from my friends in AA, patience, acceptance, honesty, humility, and true faith in a power greater than myself are the tools I use today to live my life, this precious life. Today, my life is filled with miracles, big and small, not one of which would ever come to pass had I not found the door of Alcoholics Anonymous. And you simply said to me when I sent that to you, attitude of gratitude.
Yep.
Yeah.
That reading that story is it resonates with me in almost every sentence of it. One of the things that I share with folks is it's so important to try to identify and relate with information that you're listening to,
Yeah.
There's that saying, take the cotton out of your ears and put it in your mouth.
Absolutely.
Okay, so, in a gentle way, it's just listen and try to identify with the speaker or try to identify with a story in the big book or any of our other literature and see how you can relate to it. That is so important to the road of recovery, sobriety. But with regards to attitude of gratitude, absolutely. I mean, if it wasn't for this program, I really don't think I would be alive.
Yeah.
Physically, because emotionally and spiritually, when I came in, I was dead. I was broken. Okay.
Yeah.
But I keep losing my train of thought here.
Yeah, that's fine.
This issue about coming back to AA and coming to AA, and you hear us saying those words, and I'm a true believer that we're brought to AA.
Absolutely, I can identify with that feeling.
We're brought here. God works in mysterious ways. It can, but that's why. You hear in our rooms, if you're here, you're a miracle.
Yeah.
And if you've been here before and you're here for another time, you're very lucky. You have an opportunity to have a new life.
Yeah.
I thought that I thought that my life was going to get fixed. And, and it's not about fixing anything. It's about new.
Yeah.
You're not fixing the old beat up car. No, get rid of that.
Just throw it in the junkyard, right?
You're done with that.
Gone.
We're better than that over here. You're going to get a new car.
Yeah.
That's, and that's figuratively speaking. What I'm trying to say is it's a new way of living.
It is.
It is a whole new way of living, and it only comes about, at least for me, as a result of having a spiritual awakening, okay?
Yeah.
That's how it comes about. And that comes about when you do the 12 steps that are part of this program, which are suggested, right? Mm-hmm. And you're an active, how does it go? An active, good standing member of AA. And what does that mean? Well, that means that you go to meetings regularly. You help another alcoholic. You have your time of prayer, meditation. You're continuously taking your own inventory.
Yeah. So you're giving away to keep it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, that's service, everything else. And like you kind of touched on that earlier, another paradox, we suffer to get well. And then you also hit we die to live. Kind of in there. You know, when I got sober and was in early recovery, I was like, I just want my old life back. And it's like, no. Like that old life is gone.
Right.
Yeah, I had to get a new life. And it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And being grateful is such key to this new life. And so what are some of the things that you're grateful for?
Oh, geez. I'm grateful to have a great relationship with my wife. You know, and my children and my mother and my sister and friends and being transparent and not just being me. You know, I don't need to be worrying about what I did last night or anything like that. I'm grateful that I can be of service.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for today. I'm grateful for this opportunity. You know,
I'm grateful too.
You know, even today, sometimes I take things for granted. You know, just the mere fact that, you know, I woke up this morning and I'm here right now. You know, there will come a time that will be over too, you know?
Yeah.
So being able to take in this beautiful world that we live in, and then, you know, you got to look at the positive things, you know? Because if you want to look at the bad things, you can spend your whole day stewing in that. But I remember early on when I was starting to my recovery, that I was able to notice, like, there was times in the year where you had you had the moon was wasn't setting, and you had the sun that was rising. And I'm driving on my way to work, and I see the sun and I see the moon, and I'm like, wow, check that out. You start noticing different things like that. You know, you appreciate the creations of on this earth. You know.
Yeah.
You know, I talk about a new pair of glasses. How do you? So, if it gives you a different perception to life, you know, having that attitude of gratitude gives you a different perception. You know, it's not, it helps me get out of self. It helps me to, you know, this whole victimese that, you know, I can speak victimese. And
Yeah, well, I think we all do in recovery or early recovery.
And every once in a while I still practice it. But
yeah,
I need to remember, hey, listen, you know, you don't speak like that anymore. You know, one of the things that I learned was my sponsor, and during the steps, is that there's certain things that, Manny, you don't do anymore. you just don't do that anymore, man. Right?
This is a new Manny, right?
You just don't do that anymore. I mean, listen. I don't do those things anymore. I don't want to do those things anymore. It's a whole different life.
Yeah.
It's a whole different life, you know.
It is, and it's a good life, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just spent this past week participating in this event here at Siesta Key on the beach and all that.
Yeah.
And
what was the event?
It was the Crystal Challenge. It's a sand sculpting event.
So you got to see all that from start to finish.
Pretty much, yeah. And, you know, Sober.
You could remember the event.
And I volunteered.
That's beautiful.
And
what was it like seeing those sculptures go up, those sand
it
sculptures?
was pretty amazing. It was pretty amazing. The dedication that these artists have and perseverance, you can make things happen. Things can happen,
Yeah.
And they're gifted, They're gifted. They have this God-gifted talent to do that, And
Yeah.
I saw a lot of the type of, the principles of our program. You can see it in a lot of people,
Yeah.
You can see it as a way of life by a lot of people.
Yeah.
There's good people out there in this world,
There is very good people out there, and I've learned like judgment was always like one of my big character defects. Right. It's like, what is the preconceived notion about this person, and it's not true. It's in my head, that committee,
right?
Yeah. So,
and I've come to realize that sometimes, what you think of me is really none of my business, and I can't let those things really bother me.
Yeah.
I need to live, with a good conscience, with my higher power,
yeah.
So.
Yeah, that fear of what will people think, that's evaporated in my life.
True.
Too.
Yeah.
Walking around, what will people think of me? What will people?
Right.
Yeah.
That
fear of being judged.
That self-centered fear.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Manny, you may not care what I think about you, but I'm going to tell you what I think about you right now. You've been a great friend of mine in recovery, and you continue to be a good friend of mine. And the fact is, that we're sitting here and we both get to experience both fellowships on both coasts. Mm-hmm. is incredible, because I love linking up with you every time you come over here. And in fact, I think we're going to go hit a meeting after this, right?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, and that's the beauty, fellowship and friendship. And Manny, I'm grateful for your friendship. And in fact, I remember you gave me your medallion at the happy hour meeting, and I still keep that medallion very close. And thank you very much for your friendship and your kindness in this program.
You're welcome.
And in life.
We're just doing the right thing. That's all it is, And yeah, I was honored to give you a 1-year medallion. I think that's a great accomplishment. And I know that I was able to stay sober, carrying that medallion with me, and that's why I figured it'd be a good idea to pass it on. So. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks, Manny. Yep. It's it's always like medallions and show the newcomer it works if you work it.
True.
Yeah. And so do you have anything before we go? Because there is food over there on that stove.
There is.
We're going to have food and fellowship here. Yeah. Before we go, the newcomer, do you have anything you want to say to the newcomer?
I really have nothing to say other than things that we hear all the time, and that is, if you're going to AA meetings, you probably need AA.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That is. So, all right. So look, the recovery band's looking at me. They're hungry too. Do you have enough food for the recovery band?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time and your service today, Manny. And listen, boys, before you eat, you've got to take us out, all right? All right, good. Hey, you said you wanted to meet him. You never said you wanted to feed him, but you're stuck doing it. So, yeah. All right, take us out, boys. Oh, there you go. Yeah, get down. With the phone. All right, thanks, Manny. Goodbye and be well, everyone.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.